there's two different versions, two main versions of the pentagram, and what people forget is that the one that I'm using today, that this star with the 2 points at the top and the 1 point at the bottom, actually is the one that was originally created when this symbol was first created thousands and thousands of years ago. And the reason for that is because of the totemic energy. You just simply cannot get the same totemic energy with what people call the man star, and most people don't understand that, you know, this isn't actually a new symbol. This symbol isn't upside down, it's right side up. Unfortunately, people that use it for Satanism and things like that have created this falsity around what it's really meant to be used for, and it doesn't do me any favors when I'm trying to explain this. But basically, there is Abrahamic sort of suggestive fear, and that fear kind of bled into a lot of other religions, and we were influenced by it without even knowing it. And unfortunately, Satanists were like, oh, it's bad, okay, and they took that idea and ran with it. And so, you know, ever since, people have been superstitious because of what the Satanists have used it for. But this is a symbol that I really want to stress. This is a symbol that goes completely on your intent. Not all symbols are like this, but a lot of them are. And it depends on what you intend when you draw it. So whether it's right side up or upside down, or whatever you want to, let me say this, whether it's the man star or the goat star, let's put it that way, because my right side up is your upside down, for most of you. So whether it's the man star or the goat star, it doesn't matter, because you can put either good intention or bad intention in either of those versions. It all depends on who creates the pentagram, and the intent that they put into it when they're creating it. So it most definitely runs off of power of intent. So, you know, I'm trying to show you here just how, and I'm not the best of a drawer, but I want to show you just a quick sketch just how profound it is when you realize our ancestors, the totems that they meant to put in here. There are layers, many layers, and I cannot possibly draw layer on top of layer on top of layer. It would just look like a black blob at the end. But I'm going to do the first 3 layers. And to some extent they're interchangeable. Some people use ram instead of goat, some people use hare instead of wolf. But what I'm doing is I'm showing you, look, this is what it was designed to do. This was designed to incorporate these totems. Ouroboros / Canathelcan also could just be a regular ordinary serpent you could use instead of, you know, it depends on what your purposes is. But what I'm going to be doing is the 3 Canathelcan / Ouroboros, just 2 different names for the same thing, goat and then wolf, and show you just how purposeful, just how much, you know, you cannot draw that. You can try and try, and you cannot draw it without realizing just how on purpose it was. That was the intent when they came up with the symbol, was these totems, pulling from the totemic, you know, magic of these totems, calling upon these totems more than anything else. And that's what the symbol really stands for. The symbol is a connection to the totems and to nature and to the energy, the elements. It's really, that is in itself, it is a spiraling symbol, and you can do totem after totem after totem after totem and start finding all these different totems in there, because it really does, it connects all these totems together, and you kind of, you know, see that when I start to draw this. But I just wanted to give you that, as I'm doing this, I just wanted to give you that a bit of information, because I feel like if I don't say anything, then you know, and also we don't have the best of lighting, so I should apologise about that. It's best what I can do for this time of day. But I did want to mention that because, you know, it's a lost part of the knowledge that we used to have. Just, I mean, 200-300 years ago, even, we used to, a lot of different tribes and a lot of different just people in general still believed in this, still understood it, and the magic had not been lost. But through hundreds and hundreds of years of witch hunt era and things, what happened was, you know, it kind of, there's just too much that died out with our ancestors, and the ones that survived a lot of times did not teach things like this to their children because they didn't want anyone to find out that their children were essentially like them, pagan. So trying to blend in because they were so afraid of being found out, they would even make their flutes look like spoons and cups and bowls instead of looking like flutes. They'd make them sound like animals out in the forest, like owls and things, instead of making them sound like songs. You know, they were paranoid, and for good reason, I guess. But a lot of that knowledge and wisdom died out with our ancestors, and you have to ask the ancestors for the truth anytime you see something you're like, well, that isn't right, or that just doesn't feel right to me. You know, there's so much, there's more that's lost than is remembered. And if you want to know the truth on anything, let alone a symbol like this, you do have to do some really dig deeping and talk to your ancestors and see, okay, what was this originally designed for? You know, because it's almost endless as to what you can use this symbol for. I won't say everything, but it's almost endless as to all the different types of magic you can incorporate this symbol in. Because of that sort of spiraling connection, it's a good overall thing to use for so many different purposes, and yet we're stuck on just a few very small things, you know, that we think that it's good for, whether that be the man star or the goat star, but especially the goat star. And I want to even laugh at that, because if you think that the only thing it's good for is sex magic, that's insane. That's like actually the last thing I would think of using it for. Typically, you're using it for protection magic, healing magic, that sort of thing. It is good for physical shifting, but you know, you don't have to to bring sex into it is ridiculous. I mean, there's no necessary need to do that for shifting magic. And anyway, it makes me want to laugh, because I sit here thinking, okay, everyone is so convinced, and they don't know fuck. They are so convinced that they know everything just because someone told them so, not having enough brains to actually look for themselves and find out for themselves and go on a bit of an adventure and test the waters for themselves. They just hear something from somebody and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to ask why. I'm just going to like follow like a bloody lamb follows a herd of lambs. And I just don't understand that. So, apologize, but it's something that, you know, I get a lot of wrath for telling the truth just because people are not open-minded enough to try and find the answers for themselves at a truly hollow perspective. And by that I mean hollow bone, a truly hollow perspective. That analogy we use a lot in paganism, but basically it just means don't bring your own assumptions or thoughts or feelings into it, and find out for yourself, you know, the answers when somebody, because sometimes it's legit, sometimes something is, you know, bad luck, and sometimes depends on who draws it. So anyway, without further ado, I'm just going to finish this up, and it's just, you know, phase by phase, you know, it's just, I'm drawing the Ouroboros first, then the goat, then the wolf, and eventually you'll see the goat pretty much disappear as I draw the wolf, because at that point there's so many layers that I don't have much of a choice. But you can still see how the goat is, the goat is inside the Ouroboros, the wolf is inside the goat. You can still kind of see that. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and stop talking and just do the rest, drawing.